Welcome to A's Linguistics. This channel is about all things linguistic, discussing topics in phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and sociolinguistics. So let's see what we've got today. So the point is, how do you pronounce water? Is it water? Is it water? Well, but that's British, so I'm not going to get into that. But water. If you ask me, like, what is the word for agua, the Spanish word, I would say water, right? But that's not how we normally speak, because we speak faster. And what we do in words like water, where there's a T preceded and followed by a vowel, sometimes the T is flapped. Okay, if you look at this symbol, alveolar, voiced alveolar, tap or flap. So there is, in some definitions, there is a distinction between tap and flap. We're not gonna get into the distinction between tap and flap. For the purposes of this topic, I'm going to use the words tap or flap interchangeably, as is mentioned in the IPA chart. Tap or flap. And this is the voiced alveolar tap or flap. And what is that sound? So you might ask, give me an example of this sound. Of course I will. What is an example of that word? The word water. When you speak it fast in North American English, it is pronounced water, water, right? So give me another example. You might say butter or butter. What is tapping, flapping? I told you the feature. How is it pronounced? I can say butter. Of course I can do that. But then I can make it faster and say butter. So I can say water. I can say water. So what are we doing here? We are tapping the T or flapping the T, which is a prominent feature of North American English. Of course, there's different varieties of English. This is a prominent feature of North American English, Canadian American. Tapping or flapping occurs in some other varieties like Australian English, New Zealand English. Of course, those varieties are different in many other ways, but they're similar to North American English in the sense that they flap and tap the T. But you might say, oh, so is that what it is? Like we tap the T sound? No, there's another sound that we tap. Okay, what is that? This word, ladder, it can also be pronounced as ladder. So far, what is the discovery? T and D in English can be tapped or flapped, right? What does it mean to tap or flap? If your tongue touches your alveolar ridge very quickly, if you want to adjust and be able to pronounce it, that's what you need to do. Instead of doing the T, the plosively, you do it in a tapped or flapped way by rapidly touching your alveolar ridge with your tongue. Ladder, butter, water. T and D already are alveolar. And when they are tapped, they are still alveolar. What is the difference? The manner of articulation changes. You see, they are already alveolar, and so is the tap one. But the manner changes from plosive to tap. So what is the manner of plosive? Plosive is you keep all the air, you release it in one go. And if you voice that release, it becomes D. If you if you keep it voiceless, then it is t. But if you just tap it, it is voiced. Okay, there's interesting things that happen. Before we get there, you need to know that t and d are not always tapped. They're sometimes tapped. What does that mean? It means if you have a word, even the word tap itself, in the word tap itself, the t is not tap. You don't say rap, you say tap. So, or if you say dab and you don't tap it. So sometimes they are tapped. So it means in some environments they're tapped. Now the question is, what environments? Okay, so to answer that question, we go back to our examples, right? Look at the environments and let's just keep the varieties which are tapped. If you look at the varieties that are tapped, you would see that in all of these environments, the tapped sound, it's preceded by a vowel and followed by a vowel. And in all of them, the previous vowel is stressed. That's what the environment is. Let me give you another example of a tapped word. Atom. It's tapped here because this is a vowel. So if the t or d preceded by a vowel which is stressed and followed by a vowel which is not stressed, it'll be tapped. And then to prove my point, I can show you the another version of this. Atomic. You see here, the t is preceded by a vowel and followed by a vowel, but the preceding vowel is not a stress, so it's not tapped. It stays as t. So you don't say atomic, you say atomic. These are examples of words in which t is tapped word medially. But t and d can be tapped across words or across word boundaries. This is an interesting part. Okay, well, this is another interesting thing. So let me give you an example. I have got to go, which is reduced to I got to go. So if these two t's, they kind of merge into one, and then you have a t. Here it is stressed, this one, of a stressed vowel, not stressed, I got, right? Then this can be tapped. I gotta go. I gotta go. Or easier than this, for example, I got a book from the library. So you can say, I got a book. Then you can make it narrow. I got a book. Then you can tap it. I got a book. This is an example of tapping across word boundaries. Thanks for your time and attention, and see you again soon.